if you hear lots of noises or eating, it's just animals, so I'm sorry.
We have a zoo right now.
We have 2 animals. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Andrew and this is my boyfriend Oliver.
Hey guys.
So today we wanted to talk a little bit about our views on jealousy, kind of just what we think jealousy means and how to handle it and what we do about our jealousies, things like that.
Jealousies.
Jealousies? Is that a word?
I don't know.
Oh,
it is now.
So I think that jealousy is more of a feeling. It's like a deep-rooted feeling that stems from personal insecurity. So for example, if I see you hugging somebody for a long time, or maybe just talking to somebody, if I'm feeling insecure, to me it could mean probably maybe like one of two things. It could mean that maybe I don't hug you enough, I'm insecure. I'm feeling kind of insecure about that because it's like I'm jealous, like, oh, I want that hug from you, and maybe like I'm just not getting enough, Or it could be that maybe I feel kind of inferior to that person because I'm insecure about myself, and that's something that I need to work on. Maybe I feel like you're gonna leave me for them because I'm not good enough, and in that case, that's just a personal thing that I need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about jealousy?
I think that it is 100% kind of like what you said. It's an insecurity. It stems from yourself, and it might be something that you don't have, that you might want, or just like an insecure feeling.
So you think that maybe it's not even necessarily about a person, but it can be like about something that a person has?
Yeah.
Like an object, so like maybe money, or
jealousy could be
a car or whatever.
Yeah, it could stem from anywhere, anything, but it is all, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. That's the biggest most important part. Like, jealousy is a feeling that stems from insecurities, and whether those insecurities are, like, I didn't grow up with a ton of money, so like now when I see, people with a lot of bougie things, I'm just kind of like, But like, that's just a feeling, that's how reality is. So it could be from anywhere. It could be from another person, a relationship that you have, or like an object that you don't have. Like, jealousy is just that
feeling of like envy.
Yeah, it's an envious feeling, and it's not always like a spiteful feeling.
I think that there's jealousy and then there's admiration, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I admire the fact that you have a twin. I'm not jealous, even though like I think it would be cool. I'm not like, I don't have that feeling of like envy towards you and your twin. I just have like an admiration, like, wow, that must be so cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that it's important to distinguish the difference between admiring something and being jealous of something.
Definitely important. Yeah.
I see somebody with a lot of money and I feel you could consider it jealous, but it's not jealousy, it's admiration. Like, wow, that's where I want to be. It's almost kind of like a model. Like, that's where I want, rather than like, if in a relationship, if you see somebody, flirting with somebody else, it's not like, oh, I want that to be me. It's like, I want that to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I agree. I think jealousy is definitely a feeling, and I think people need to recognize that it is just a feeling, just like how you can feel happy or sad or angry. Those are all just feelings. They're not actions. They stem actions, like they create actions and reactions, but they're not.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people view jealousy, or might confuse jealousy as more of an action rather than just a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a feeling. It's 100% natural. It's just like any other feeling you have. Like, you can't really control it.
Right. I don't think
I'm stopping.
I don't think, no, I agree. You can't control your feelings. But I do think that it's a good notification. Jealousy is a great notification that you need to maybe do some reflection, some self-reflection, or to just, start communicating better, or, fix an issue. To me, jealousy is kind of like a, hey, something is off here. If I see like the hug example, if I see Oliver hugging somebody and I were to feel jealous over it, that's like a notification saying like, hey, something is off. Because, you know, if I felt completely comfortable in our relationship, and if I felt like, you know, I hugged you the right amount or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't be feeling that jealousy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just to add to what you were saying, or to give you guys an example, I have a twin, right? And she and I both went to the same college freshman year, and then she stopped going, but she was like making a living and like figuring her stuff out, and I wasn't. And that to me created an insecurity, and I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know exactly how to fix it, and I kind of put a little bit of like a cold shoulder between me and my twin. And it's not the same anymore, but I had to think about like why that was happening, because that was a jealous feeling. And my sister didn't do anything wrong, she just took actions into her own hands.
Right, like, that you weren't taking. And so you're like, oh man, it's because I think it's something that you know you could have been doing, but you were choosing not to.
And instead of being jealous about it, you could choose to do something about it. Like after realizing that, you know, that where it's coming from, you then decide what to do about it, and it could then turn into like an admiration. Wow, I admire my sister so much. Instead of being jealous of her, I want to follow in her footsteps and do whatever she was doing to create the solid foundation that she has at the same age that I do. Like we were 17 when she had her stuff together, and I was like,
no, I think that's a really good point. I think you should strive to turn jealousy into admiration, you know? Just don't ignore it. I know so many people that they just try to like talk themselves out of it, like, oh, well, I shouldn't be feeling that way. You're feeling it for a reason. You need to go beyond, oh, I shouldn't be feeling that way, and start telling yourself, why am I feeling that way? A really good example between the two of us when this has happened is we were both, we've talked about this in our other video, we were being very codependent on each other. And I, for whatever reason, it just hit me that I wanted to be elsewhere, and not away from you, but I wanted to be like in a different place in my life. You know, I started like reading these books a lot, and I started just kind of doing a lot of self-reflection, and I realized like I started creating big goals, like massive goals, bigger than me, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember you kind of looked at that, and maybe you weren't really ready yet, or you know, you hadn't had that realization yourself, because we both had it and we're both there now.
Yeah.
But you were still at a place where you really wanted to work out, but you didn't at the same time. Like it's not that he didn't want to take the time to do it, it's an insecurity, you know? It was hard to push through. You've done it, and I'm so proud of you for that. But I remember at that time, we were kind of having a conversation, and I remember you saying like, it wasn't that you didn't, and I remember you said, you're like, I don't want to be selfish, and it's not that you didn't want me to start planning goals or start, you know, working towards those goals, but you were like, I'm afraid that I'm not catching up to you fast enough in reaching mine, and that you're gonna find somebody else that will already be there, you know, just kind of waiting for you, and then you'll look at that like, wow, they already have this like great mindset and all these goals, and like they're accomplishing things, and then you'll look at me and see that I'm not, and kind of, you know, want to switch over. Like, I think that that's something a lot of people can relate to, like a very common feeling of like, you know, an insecurity that you're not good enough, and that you're not working enough, you know? And I feel like what you did with that was you just started taking more action. You started going to the gym more, you started doing more, and I think that now that you have bigger goals, you know, you want to enter competitions, and you want to, you know, go to the gym every day, and you do all these things. I've noticed you haven't had that same mentality. Like, you don't feel like, oh, I'm gonna leave you for somebody better, because you're like, dude, I'm getting better myself. Why? You're not gonna leave me for somebody better, because I'm on the same page as them now. You know, I have these goals and these ambitions that I'm working towards, you know, and I think that, like, that's a really good way to show how you can work through jealousy. It was like a fear and a jealousy towards, you know?
Yeah, and like, none of that would have changed unless we did have that, like, initial sit down. Not to say like we talk about this is an ongoing thing, like it's always kind of not this subject, but like these little talks, little things, like little insecurities that we feel in ourselves. As long as we're communicating, we're constantly going to be moving forward, and I feel like the ball is just rolling now. Like, I don't feel that like insecurity that kind of like jealousy or worry that I'm just dragging you down or you're just gonna leap forward and I'm gonna be stuck in the dust, you know? Like, I really don't feel that way anymore, and it's because, and I remember this conversation, I remember this, like, yeah, I remember it. I was not very happy, like, it was hard, but I'm glad it happened, because, you know, so many good changes have happened since in both of us, in our relationship. So I guess, like, the biggest thing you can do when you have a feeling of jealousy is to communicate to yourself, like, you know, do some thinking and then communicate to whoever it is, the object of emotion, whatever it is that's bugging you or that you're jealous about or for or towards, I don't even know. Whatever it is, whoever it is, talk to them, like, figure it out, you know? If it's an object, if you're like...
Well, yeah, no, it can be anything, because I know that was something that you had, but I've had jealousy in our relationship too. I know whenever, especially, a thing that I've realized is, like, the more independent we have become and the more goals that we've created and the more we've worked towards them, just the better we've been individually and the better we've been as a couple.
Definitely.
Like, 100%. Because before we started doing all of this, back when we were kind of more codependent, whenever I hadn't had that breakthrough yet, I remember his work schedule started to kind of change. Like, they would ask him to come in the morning earlier, you know, so instead of going in at 11, they would ask him to come in at 9. And I remember I'd feel like that anger jealousy of like, you know, you have the option. It was almost, it was awful on my part, but kind of I felt like, you have this option to be with me, like, why can't you just work later while I'm at work, and then we'll have more of this time together, you know? And that was a jealous feeling, but whenever I look back and I think on that, that had nothing to do with you. I was jealous and upset because I felt like I wasn't doing enough as a person, like, as my own being, you know? I didn't have anything, and so you leaving me to do things, I was kind of like, well, now I'm just here.
Yeah, now you don't have anything to do.
It really didn't even have anything to do with you, although, like, it was you that I wanted there in the moment. It, you know, it's not right. You just happened to be the thing I was clinging on to. Yeah. But it was a self issue, and that's what I think people should really recognize, is that jealousy is just a notification that you're doing something wrong, and it's a you problem. Yeah. You know? It
really is.
It's jealousy, it's not the other person, because you have to think, like, if your significant other cheats on you, that's not jealousy, that's them messing up.
That's their fault, yeah.
You know? That's not a stem of jealousy, that's a break of trust.
That's a reason to be upset. Like, that's not a reason.
That's not jealousy. Yeah. Jealousy would be if I see him, if he wants to go out with a friend and I'm like, no, I want you here with me, like, don't do things with other people, you know, that's like a controlling type of jealousy. There's multiple different types of jealousy, you know, but you really just need to take jealousy and do some self-reflection on it. It's hard. I really wish that we had done this whenever we had a more troublesome relationship. And it's crazy because I remember at that time we thought, like, our relationship's great. And I'm sure right now there's things that we need to work on that, like, you know, a year from now we'll look back and be like, wow, we thought our relationship was great. But that's perfect. That's what I want. I want us to continue to grow so much that, like, when we look back, we're like, wow, our relationship is much better. Yeah. We should always be creating growth, you know? Yeah. But I think the more, whenever we get a feeling of anything, a feeling of jealousy, of sadness, I know that there are things that, like, simple miscommunications that we'll just nip it right in the bud. We'll be like, hey, you know, I don't know if this was your intention, but whenever you said this, it kind of made me feel this way. And then we just talk about it, and then, you know, we don't think we don't have an issue with it anymore.
Oh man, I remember this, like, we were at your dad's in Fawn's. That long conversation where you just started to explain, this is something I've learned from you, like, the whole feelings versus actions. Like, feelings are just feelings, and I think having that discussion with you has made me be able to, like, talk about that or kind of teach that to other people, like other people that are just a couple years younger than me, or, like, you know, that just ask me different questions, or even people at my work, like, talking about, like,
older, younger, doesn't matter.
My boss. like we talk about communication in relationships all the time now. I think like feelings versus actions, there's nothing wrong with having feelings, and for you to be able to go to somebody and talk to them is the greatest feeling ever. For them not to like give you shit for it or judge you for it or like make you feel bad for those feelings, because they're literally just feelings.
Right. Feelings literally should just be, I don't know if triggers is the right word. Feelings should literally just be like used as a tool for growth.
Yes.
Anger should be used as a tool for growth. Okay. Any feeling, happiness should be used. Feelings should literally just be indicators towards growth. That's it. Yeah. You know? They're just like little notifications. They shouldn't be, I feel like people think like, oh, my feelings are me. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like you are your feelings. You're not. You are your actions. It doesn't matter if you're the angriest person in the world, if you can control that and like handle it well. Yeah. You know what I mean? If your actions aren't angry, then you're not an angry person. You just have angry feelings.
Yeah, and it's kind of like being an angry person, right? The more actions you take that are positive, the less angry you become.
Right.
So it's like faking it till you make it, or you know, just instead of like thinking about it, just do it kind of thing.
Right.
That being said, jealousy is a feeling, the battery is low.
It's okay.
Jealousy is a feeling that you really need to listen to. Like jealousy is that notification. Okay, so you get a bunch of notifications, right? You get a notification from happiness, from sad, from jealousy, from anger, and jealousy pops up and you're like, whoa, I haven't texted you in a while. What's going on, man? But you see happiness and you're like, okay, I see you pretty often, or I talk to you pretty often. Right. You can wait until I figure out what's going on with jealousy. Like jealousy is something that you gotta figure out right away.
I love that, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. You gotta figure it out right away, so that way it doesn't affect all of your other text messages and all your other relationships that are going on at the same time, you know, like your happiness and your anger and your sadness.
I think that that's the issue though, is people are like, I talk to happiness so often, like they feel so comfortable in it, and they don't talk to, you know, like you said, jealousy very often. So whenever jealousy does pop up, they're just kind of like, I don't want to talk to you, I'd rather talk to happiness because I know what to expect, you know. It's like, it's almost like a fear towards like, just like diving into jealousy and, you know,
figuring out what it's coming from, like,
right, because you're not used to doing that. You would much rather talk to happy, like who wouldn't? But you're not going to get any growth from happiness. Like happiness should be a reward, you know what I mean, not an expectation. Like a reward from dealing with jealousy. I can guarantee you sit down and you deal with jealousy, you'll get plenty of fucking happy notifications.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
And can I just say, as somebody that, like, this is a kind of new practice to me, communicating with you, like the more we do it, the easier it gets. So like the more I talk about like little insecurities or things that I have, like the first time we had to talk about it, it took us like 2 hours for me to get like more than 5 words out. Like I just could not get it out, and there was nothing against you, there was nothing you were doing. It was just like I haven't done this before, and it's emotional and it feels like it's a feeling, and it but like once you do it, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the less afraid of it you are to tackle. Like now, if jealousy pops up on my phone, or if anger pops up on my phone, I'm like, all right, let's figure this out. Like, let's handle it.
Yeah, and even like today or yesterday, like he very now, like it used to be like I'd have to really push him, like ask him, you know, like what's wrong. But now he'll come up to me and you just go kind of like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? You know, and then you just do it, and it takes us maybe like 10 minutes now. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. To get like a world's worth of advice.
Yeah, I love you. Like,
I love you.
I love that. Our camera's about to die though, so we really need to end this. But in all seriousness, yeah, I really like this topic, so.
Yeah, and if you guys have any more questions or anything.
Or any other topics, we'd love to talk about them.
Yeah.
Do another chatty video.
Definitely.
But for right now, that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye. My thoughts on jealousy. Well, I think that I got a real bad itch, I'm sorry.
Well, I think that